To remove and install the rear half shaft on your RZR Turbo R, follow these steps. Park the vehicle on a flat level surface and ensure it is in park. Next, remove the center cap from the wheel. Then, loosen the axle nut. Next, loosen the lug nuts while the vehicle is on the ground, but do not remove at this time. Then, safely elevate the vehicle. Reference your owner's manual for proper lifting techniques. Once safely elevated, remove the lug nuts and set aside. Then, remove the wheel and set aside. Continue by removing and discarding the axle nut from the rear wheel assembly. Next, remove and retain the lower radius rod fastener and nut, and lower the rod. Repeat this process for the upper radius rod. Next, press the axle in while pulling the trailing arm out to remove the axle from the hub. If necessary, loosely reinstall the axle nut onto the axle and tap the nut with a hammer to separate the axle from the hub. Then, lift the axle up and with a short, sharp jerk, remove the drive shaft from the rear gear case. Next, clean the anti-seize off the drive shaft splines using a clean, dry cloth. Then, inspect the threads and splines on the half shaft for nicks or burrs and replace if needed. Continue by inspecting the CV boots to ensure there are no cuts, wear, or damage, and replace if needed. Next, remove and discard the compression ring on the drive shaft. Then, install a new compression ring into the groove on the end of the drive shaft, and ensure it is fully seated. Before installing, clean any old anti-seize from the gear case and hub assembly. Then, apply new anti-seize to the inboard splines on the half shaft. Next, align the splines on the half shaft with the gear case, and push in firmly on the shaft until the compression ring is fully engaged in the gear case. Then, lightly pull on the axle to ensure the compression ring is fully engaged. Next, insert the axle through the wheel hub, and push the carrier in to seat the axle. Then, install a new axle nut onto the axle. Next, align the upper radius rod and reinstall the fastener and nut. Repeat this process for the lower radius rod. Then, torque the upper and lower radius rod fasteners to specification. Next, install the wheels on the vehicle and tighten the lug nuts until fully seated. Then, safely lower the vehicle until the tires begin to touch the ground. This will help keep the wheels in place when torquing. Once lowered, torque the lug nuts to specification in a crisscross pattern. Then, torque the axle nut to specification. Then, push the dust cap onto the wheel and ensure it is fully seated. Finally, lower the vehicle completely. For more information, see your authorized Polaris dealer or visit Polaris.com.